So yeah, it's literally like 14 hours in this damn plane. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll probably like do some plyometrics or something.
So there I was, from what seemed like 3 seconds in 3 weeks. I blinked and it was all over. My mom and I haven't traveled in 12 years. Whether that was due to my financial situation or me constantly putting things off or me trying to save up money, I was always in this scarcity kind of mindset. And here we are, my mom and I, we're about to board this crazy 15-hour flight back to Saigon, Vietnam.
Là mặt em tự làm em tự.
But yeah, this is technically my first day here. Literally a little overwhelming. I'm like, should I go to sleep? Or it's definitely like a complete 180, but when it comes to life, it's pretty interesting to go from 0 to 100 because you essentially break out of your habit. And for me, growing up not really experiencing and traveling, to going from this, but first I gotta take a nap.
For me, the word family meant more than what it actually was. The only family I really knew growing up was through pictures, because most of them were across the world. I've always wondered what it would be like to be surrounded by relatives, to have those big family gatherings that I was always so envious of growing up. And the only time I would go to Vietnam was maybe once every 5, 10, 12 years, but this was due to only dire circumstances. In other words, death. And for most Vietnamese, they don't want to go back to Vietnam. More along the lines of escaping, whether that was from poverty, the government, chasing the American dream, escaping the country. But call me crazy, but it felt like home.
So pretty much this is like day 2 that I'm here, and definitely like more of like a culture shock, and that lighting is really bad, but it really gives you perspective on things like, what are you complaining about coming from like a first world country and all this stuff. And at the same time, it's like I get to understand like why my mom thinks the way that she thinks, or like why Asian parents are the way that they are, because you know, you're affected by your environment, you're affected by who you're around. And at first I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do travel vlogs and like film my food. Well, I'm gonna do a bit of that, but there's other things that I want to capture and see, and not do like a stereotypical, hey guys, this is me in like here and I'm gonna be eating this food, but try to do different things and try to like change things up with not only my YouTube but the way that I see life. And no, this is not me being like super enlightened or me being like, oh my god. And sorry if it's like, hear that sound in the back. That's the AC cut because it is hot ass.
I wanted to go home. As cliche as it sounds, was to know where I came from and to understand the slightest magnitude of where my parents came from and why they think the way that they think.
Nó ở quê. Con dặn mẹ ở đấy con dặn. Đi xuống mai thì xuống mua coi cho nó. Mai xem mua cho chuối.
And although I didn't get to pick apart every minute detail, I finally understood. I empathized. To see family, to know what it actually meant, to know where in some way and somehow I'm connected to these strangers through blood. But at the same time, it was also really sad to know things that I missed out on, to seem like strangers, but we shared a bond halfway across the world. To know that this could have been me growing up in the streets in Saigon, selling lottery tickets, trying to sell something, hustling out in these streets and worrying about day to day, to worry about how I'm going to survive the next day. And it finally hit me. To know how lucky I actually have it. Even though I complain a lot and tend to have this negative outlook on my own upbringing, the mere fact that me having the audacity to talk about such things should be eliminated after how I saw Vietnamese lives and how they live their lives day to day, worrying only about tomorrow, worrying about what to eat, worrying about just being alive. And it made me question my entire dogma of what's the meaning of life? What's my purpose? Is there even a purpose?
Pretty much one more week, 7 days left in the motherland, the homeland of Vietnam. And just checking my autofocus. A part of me is a little homesick. I'm not even gonna lie. Cause, you know, my Vietnamese, like I already said, isn't the greatest. And, you know, to sit there and nod, you know, I can understand and process and comprehend what they're saying. But for me to actually have a logical response and all that takes a little longer. So I'm like, but yeah. So one of the things I do look forward to is being able to have a normal conversation in the Americas. But, you know, one of the good things about being here is I get to prove my Vietnamese. You know what I'm saying? I get to improve that Vietnamese. And yeah, oh yeah. This is like the little room that I'm staying in. That's my bed over there. Right there. Thank God for the AC. Thank God for that AC. But yeah, 7 days left, man, in the Vietnam. Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. A lot of family. That's the one of the things. They're strangers, but they're family, right? I haven't met them, like some of them ever, and it's a little bit overwhelming. Oh hey, what's up, my cousin, my nephew, my cousin, aunts and uncles, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like there's a lot of if, ands, or buts. Would I be like a different person if I was born here and surrounded by family? Or, you know, be all by my lonesome self, my mama and my dad is in Vancouver. And, you know, a lot of if, ands, or buts and things, but, you know, it feels good to be around a lot of family. Because, you know, growing up for me, the word itself meant more than it actually is. But now to be around a lot of more family members, even though we're not super close and tight, it's, you know, it's like, it's cool to see.
You see, death is one of the things I always avoided talking about, but I think that's normal. Seeing, you know, my relatives day to day and me not coming back for so long, Another sad thing was to see how they're all getting old. To know that this might be the last time that I'll see them. To know how many weeks, months, years remain. And every time I come back, I want to help. To know their stories. Because it's a part of my story. Because that constant reoccurring theme of this could have been me. I could have been living here.
I hate this cat. Wakes me up every damn morning. It's always damn hungry. Always hungry. Don't attack me. So, when it comes to my last and final remarks on this trip, it gives me perspective, right? Exactly why, I came here for family. And it's bittersweet in the way where it's like, I know where my roots are, I'm Vietnamese, well, half. And I still haven't forgotten all of the language. And it makes me realize the little things that I worry about are so minuscule when it comes to things like living in Vietnam, third world country. Developing, but, still poverty, still things like what I'm gonna eat tomorrow. And just really fending for yourself. That's what I'm really grateful for. And at the end of the day, I have Vietnamese blood, but at the end of the day, man, I'm Canadian, Vancouver, born and raised from the streets of South Vancouver. You know what I'm saying? So gangster, right? But when it comes to trips, I got experience, and understand why my parents think the way that they think, how my mom thinks the way that she thinks, and gives me an overall bigger perspective because, I'm always about self-awareness and how people are trapped in their bubbles, and I'm guilty of that too. And not having flown in a while, and after seeing people from a whole different perspective and international level, it makes you feel how small you are and how irrelevant you are to the world, and how there's so much more of the world to explore. There's so much more things to do. So whenever, I find myself complaining and feel sorry for myself, I can definitely look back on this trip, and it definitely gave me a slap to reality. But time to get back to Vancouver. The homeland, you know what I'm saying?
You look at me crazy, but I just feel like there's so much more in Vietnam to explore, to create and be the best that I can be. And through these 3 weeks, I felt like it changed me. A good slap to the usual thinking patterns and routines. Who knows? But I'll be back, and I think it's sooner than y'all think.
Cuối tháng này thì còn đi mà.
Oh, and people are always like, Peter, man, you ain't the Vietnamese, man. You look like Chinese, you motherfucker. I'm gonna show you how Vietnamese I am. You know what I'm saying? I am so Vietnamese.
Đi ra đăng ký cái 3G gói bill 70 là đã đưa trên ngành nó đăng ký vậy luôn anh Nam. Đang ngủ hả bố? Wifi thì vẫn chạy trong nhà được, anh hiểu không? Đó, nhưng mà thằng Hiếu nó sợ là kêu chắc ăn đấy, em gọi á là cái gì mà em tới chưa đúng không? Lúc anh gọi nó thấy cái gì?
That is how Vietnamese I am. Throw your bees up.